What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode number 33 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today I had the pleasure of welcoming a Maryland native. He is a dope producer. Discovered this guy after he worked with Stalley this year. Well, not this year, but in 2020 he worked on all three of Stalley's projects. His name is Jay Patterns. And today we talked about, I wanted to kind of break down with someone who has had online success as a producer. Jay Patterns makes a lot of different type beats and everything, mostly Drake type beats. He kind of describes how he got into doing, kind of taking that route as a producer as opposed to just posting a bunch of random beats with no kind of direction or anything. And I thought that was good to get that perspective from someone that's been doing that for a while. He said, surprisingly enough, he's only been producing heavily for 3 years, which I found was interesting considering he's already very well developed in his sound, in my opinion. We talked about what kind of projects he has coming up, and I kind of brought up that he should bring back doing his beat tapes, because I feel like he has the beats that you can just kind of just throw them on and really just vibe to them, even if there's no rapper or singer or anyone on it. And he talked about a little bit about how the whole Stalley connection came about, how I believe he said it was someone who worked at Billboard who kind of plugged him with Stalley, which I thought was very cool. Stalley, obviously an artist from Northeast Ohio, here where I'm from, someone who I've always been a fan of, so that was very cool to hear that story. And I'm just wishing Jay Patterns all the success, man, because like I said, I think he has a great sound already, and it's only going to keep getting better. And I foresee him working with a lot of great artists in the future. So kind of just tap in with this episode. I thought there was a lot of great information, especially if you're someone who's a producer who's going to be trying to sell beats online. This might be the episode for you. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, welcome everyone to episode number 33 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today we got a Maryland native. He's a super dope producer. I love this guy's sound. Jay Patterns is here. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. And again, thank you for being on the show today. And I'm glad to get you on finally after, a few months. So pretty much to start out every episode, we kind of just have, the guests kind of give a little background as to how they got started in music, kind of where your stage name comes from, all that good basic stuff.
Yeah. I guess my dad plays the guitar, so that was like really where my intro to music came. Then when I got into like my early teens, I started like getting into like hip hop, jazz, and all that. And I never really thought about making beats. Like my cousin made beats, but originally I just wrote music. Mm-hmm. That was all I wanted to do. I was just write, and then eventually maybe rap. But then in 2017, I got a beat machine for Christmas, and then I just decided, why not just make beats? Mm-hmm. And ever since then, man, I just never let the foot off the gas, and now I'm here. So
nice. And I can tell just from hearing like all your stuff on YouTube and everything that you got already like a really dope sound developing and everything, man. Like you're way ahead of like where I'm at, or like a lot of people that have just started out kind of are. So I was kind of interested to see like where you started and when you started. So that's kind of cool. You've really just been doing it the last few years and everything. So I can tell you're definitely like cut out for it, man. So that's super awesome.
Like it's only been 3 years, but it feels like I've been doing it for like 10 almost.
That's honestly what I like would have thought just hearing your shit, because like it's just very well like seasoned, and like all the sound selection is very good and everything. So like hats off to you, bro. So as far as like the beat making process for you, how does that begin? Are you like, I know you kind of dabble with like some samples and different things like that, so like how do you say you'd begin? Are you beginning with drums or like a melody, or does it not really matter?
I usually always start with like a melody, or like just the bass of like a sample or something. Unless I'm like trying to chop something up, then I'll use a drum first, and then I'll just like tap it in as I go. But mostly I start with just like a melody or some sort of sound first.
Yeah, because I know like a lot of people, especially now, it's like melodies and loops and things are becoming a big thing as far as like producers collaborating. So like someone will send someone a melody and like just go from there. I personally, I've never been able to start with drums. Like I don't know what it is about like the music side. I have to start with that, with hearing something and like the main part of a song, and then I can kind of like get the beat going. And like for songwriters too, I guess a lot of songwriters don't like to have drums in there to start with. They like to have just like a melody or like some type of piano or something, whatever the sound is, and just get it going from there. So I'm always interested to hear like kind of what everyone's process is and everything. So that's pretty cool. So I know that you have worked with Stalley, who's a big artist out here where I'm from in Ohio. How did that whole thing come about, and kind of what do you think has led to kind of that whole thing taking shape over the past couple of years for you?
Yeah, Stalley, I remember listening to him in like 2011, 2012, when he was on MMG back in the day. And pretty much how that came about, there's this guy that works at Billboard, and he like interviews artists and stuff. I'll give you his Instagram after this. He interviewed Stalley. He's actually a good friend of his, and you know, he just kind of like naturally messed with my music, so he just plugged my beats. Next thing you know, one morning I woke up, I got a DM, and he was like, "Hey man, send me some beats and all that." And I was like excited. I was like, "Wow, this is crazy," because I used to listen to him. I even told him, like, "Man, I used to listen to you back in like 2011, though, MMG, when they did the mixtapes with like Meek Mill, Rick Ross, all that." I must have sent him like 300 beats that day. And I was like, I gotta get, and he like used 2, I think. Then the next project he used another one, he used another 2, and the recent project called Cake, he used like, I think I produced 6 out of 7 or something like that. It was just crazy how it all came about, and yeah, I'm just grateful for that, man, forever. That was awesome.
Yeah, it's super crazy. Placement. It's super crazy because like I'm like 20 minutes away from Massillon and everything in Ohio, so like around here, like Stalley's like considered one of the best like to come out of this area. And like I remember when he was on MMG, and I was like, oh, this dude's from Ohio, and like not only is he from Ohio, he's like really close to where I'm at. So like that's crazy. And then like this year, I saw your name on the production credits, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna check this dude out. And that's kind of like how I figured out your music, and I was like, oh, this dude's super dope, and like he fits kind of like. Because Stalley, like, I feel like he's always had, like, the sample-type beats and things like that, but he'll do some different stuff. Like, Pariah, like, that project is probably one of my favorites of the year. Like, I felt like he did a really great job on that. And, like, your contributions were great to that, so I was kind of interested to see how that connection kind of came about. So that's pretty cool. So I know that you are pretty heavy on YouTube. You got a lot of subscribers over there as far as, like, your material. And I think you're on BeatStars as well, correct?
Yeah, like every so often.
Yeah, so
it's hard to keep up with, like, because my process, I just make beats like every day.
Yeah,
and to just sit here and like upload on that and then YouTube, it's just like we get kind of lazy with that. But yeah.
So I was kind of intrigued as far as like which one. It sounds like you prefer YouTube more. So can you kind of go a little bit into that as like why that's your preferred method of kind of just getting your beats out there?
I think just because I think BeatStars is just like, it's like mainly producers, you know what I mean? So I feel like there's like a lot of, like, I mean, there's competition on YouTube too, but like, I think I already have a following on YouTube, and most people only use BeatStars really to just buy beats. I don't really know anybody that's like on there just, you know, I'm just listening to BeatStars, you know? Like people, I know nowadays people will get on YouTube and just listen to music all day, and if I can get my video to pop up and the up next right on the way, you know, then that's like the goal, you know. So I just keep trying to grow on that and make that happen, bro. Just why I prefer it. Plus, it's pretty much YouTube's really the reason people have found me. You know, if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I don't think I'd be making beats for Stalley. So that's how I look at it.
It's awesome because YouTube has been around for like 15 plus years, but it's still like an ever-growing platform too, and there's so many possibilities with it. And like you said, I think BeatStars is cool for like what it is, and like it's just for beat makers and whatnot. But YouTube, there's a lot of different possibilities, and I always see like people even putting together like playlist mixes of different people's beats just to kind of play them and things like that. And you never know what could come out of that because an artist could be on YouTube and like your beat could be in someone's playlist that just got randomly made, and then they're going to check out your stuff and then be like, oh, I'm going to hit this guy up for beats or whatever. So yeah, I was just kind of intrigued on like why that works for you, and I'll get into that a little bit more about like the different methods you're using, I think, and everything. So but that's pretty interesting. Is there anyone that you would credit that you've listened to coming up that kind of made you say, I want to do music, or like anyone that you've listened to that was kind of like, this is really cool, hopefully I can do this one day?
I mean, if you look at my page, you can probably figure out who that is.
I think I know who that is.
Yeah, I mean, 2000, like, 2011, I think, was like one of the greatest years for music, in my opinion. Like Drake dropped, The Weeknd was coming out. I think Channel Orange with Frank Ocean came out. Like there were so many albums, Jay-Z and Kanye. I just think that was like when I was like, man, like all these different sounds, especially with what I gotta credit, like what Toronto and Drake and all those guys were doing. It just, I don't know, sonically it just was like everything I wanted to hear. Like I still remember when I played House of Balloons for like the first time. I was sitting in my bed and I was like 14 or whatever. And yeah, ever since then I was like, man, this is like the greatest stuff I've heard in my life. And I think that's pretty much what really got me into music. Just the way they would write their songs or sing, the melodies you would hear, like it wasn't really heard before, you know? So yeah, I guess I have to credit Drake, The Weeknd, J. Cole, all those guys, Kendrick. Pretty much our generation's like top artists, you know? Especially Kanye West. Like that's probably my favorite producer.
It's kind of weird because like I'm very familiar with that era as well, because like that was kind of the turning where a lot of the new artists were coming up, and nowadays these are the biggest artists like in the industry,
which is crazy.
Yeah,
like I never would have thought. People used to make fun of you listen to Drake. You know, oh man, you soft, man. But now he's like
he's the biggest artist in the world. Yeah, he literally is the biggest artist in the world. And I'm looking forward to his album next month. I want to see like kind of where he takes that, because I did like Scorpion a little bit, but like I wasn't as big of a fan of it as some of the past work. So I'm kind of curious because he's taken the last couple years to kind of make this one. So I think this one's going to be something pretty different. I think it's going to be interesting.
Hopefully.
So other than those artists that you just named, is there anyone that you'd want to do a song with, or maybe, you know, collab with soon that's a kind of a bigger name?
Oh, man. That's a good one. There's actually a couple artists. I know one, he's like pretty underground. I don't know if you ever heard of Johnny Rain. He's pretty dope. If you ever want to check him out.
I'll have to look him up, yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing music for a minute. He also like has that like dark like sound. Other than that, yeah, I think I want to work with like some of the new guys. Like I want to work with like Roddy or Lil Baby maybe, just to pop in that sound. Big Sean's another guy I want to work with. And then like as far as like maybe collab with producers, I think Hit Boy would be pretty dope.
Oh yeah.
Metro obviously. Yeah, I mean I'd want to work with like Jay-Z or some of those guys too. But Nas would be dope. But yeah, I would work with anybody, man. Like especially female artists too. Like I know Georgia Smith's pretty dope. I'd work with her, or maybe Beyonce, You Want to Shoot Through the Stars. But yeah, I'm down to just like one day I want to work with just everybody, man. Just have like my little hand in everything.
Yeah, you never know what could happen as long as you just keep working, you know. Now, are you someone that kind of is a studio guy, or you kind of just make it home, or it doesn't really matter to you, or you just kind of like make anywhere?
Only been in the studio like twice in my life, man. I've just been sitting in my computer making beats for almost 4 years now. So
can't complain about that though. That's the beauty of the internet too. Like you could just be wherever now and just kind of make it happen. Now, as long as you got like a plan in place, like you never know what could come out of it. So
like it's crazy. Like back in the day, you know, you had to go to like New York, LA if you wanted to do something with your music, hand people CDs. But now you could just upload on SoundCloud if you get lucky. Only takes one song. So
exactly. And it's good like if you're in like a small town and you don't have like access to a studio, or you don't have enough money to build your own studio, as long as you have like a laptop and maybe like an audio box or something, like a USB mic, things like that, just to get it going. And you can just make very simple songs and just kind of put them out and see where it goes. And slowly, once you start gaining more money and more traction, you can start building up something better. So
yeah, I mean, a good example, Bryson Tiller made Don't, I think, in his living room.
And that's one of the biggest records in the last like 10 years. So
yeah, there you go.
That was like the record that put him on too. So you're from Maryland, right? I'm kind of curious as to like, I'm not very huge on the Maryland like rap scene or really the music scene as far as like indie artists coming up. Is there anyone that's like a really cool like budding talent that we should know about to be on the lookout for, or maybe someone you've worked with?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really keep up with like any of the like upcoming artists, to be honest. Not like I don't like look for it, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I've only worked with people. I usually work with people that are like across the country, which is kind of funny. I've worked people in Toronto, LA, that stuff. But as far as Maryland, I never really like touched base with anybody around here.
I can kind of relate to that though, because like where I'm from, I know there's artists out here, but like I don't know, we haven't really connected on anything, or like there's been no dialogue there. So I've already worked with more people that live like thousands of miles away from me than I have actually where I'm at. So
Yeah.
I guess it kind of all just depends on like the situation and everything and all that kind of thing.
Just how people network, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if I haven't like heard, it's because I'm not digging, or maybe like they're not trying to like push their music out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I've had a couple people hit me like, yeah, I'm from Maryland too and stuff.
Mm.
But as far as like anybody that's like big or like actually coming up, I'm not really sure.
Mm. So as far as kind of marketing yourself and maybe like how you present yourself on social media and things like that, are there any certain methods that you've been using that are kind of just unique to you, or are you just kind of following blueprint you've seen before? Like, how's that been going for you lately?
Well, I think the best thing to do is just stay consistent. Like I remember when I first started, I was like, oh, I'll just do like one beat a week, and then I was like, I wasn't really popping off like that.
Mm-hmm.
I never one beat it got like 20K views, I think. And I was like, man, I could probably do something with this. So from that day forward, I just decided I'm just gonna like make a beat a day. Zombie on the Track, actually, I got this from an interview he did like back in like 2016, and he was like, yeah, I just make a beat a day. You make a beat a day, that's 365 beats. And I was like, all right, I could do that. So every day I just kept creating. It's crazy because I don't think I've ever experienced beat block, and if I did, it was only for like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had to keep it. I just like, I'm just gonna stay consistent. That's my advice to anybody. Like if they're like, man, I don't understand why I'm not popping off. I'm like, I look at their page. I was like, no, you only dropped a song like once a year, or like an album. Like you just put as much music out there. If you can flood the market, your name will pop up way more than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I think on YouTube, I'm probably one of the only few that actually goes like every day something new. Mm-hmm. So that was like my blueprint I made myself, I guess. So shout out to Zombie for saying that in the interview, because I'd stuck with me ever since I seen that. But yeah,
I think too there's a big misconception as far as like when you do music, you feel like it's not supposed to feel like a job or whatever, and you kind of just want to do it whenever you want. But at the same time, if you're not doing it consistently enough, you're never going to get the like you said, the traction that you need to actually succeed. You have to actually have like a blueprint and some type of plan and like a schedule for yourself. Be like, I'm going to do this once a day and just keep going, because like you have to build the discipline, you know what I mean? There has to be a self-discipline aspect to it. You can't just be lazy and be like, I'm just going to do it whenever I feel like it, because you're never going to see the results. So I think like anyone that's ever had success, especially in music, eventually even if they didn't have it before, they like develop the self-discipline to make something out of themselves with what they want to do with that. So I definitely feel what you're saying there. So
yeah. Another thing, man, just invest in yourself, like don't be that guy who like wants everything for free or like hand it to him. Like just make some sacrifices, man. Like if you look at some of the biggest artists, they've done like a lot of things, spent money on everything, studio equipment. Like just invest in yourself, just take a risk. You never know.
It's important to get your priorities in order with that, because I think a lot of people still, they want to buy like clothes and shoes and all the things that you might not need for your career, but you have to figure out what you actually need to move yourself along and continue the progress and invest in that. So that's all very important. So back to kind of like your YouTube and kind of your strategy. I know that you've done a lot of like type beats and things like that, and I know like certain producers do type beats and then certain producers do like some different routes and kind of different techniques. What exactly led you to do the type beats route, and how do you think you found success in that specifically for you?
I think when I like wanted to be like a rapper, I used to like just type in beats on YouTube, right? And I just seen them, all these guys, it was type beat this, type beat that, and I was like, all right, I guess that's like the thing to do, And even on like SoundCloud, looking up beats, it was always type beats. So yeah, I just was like, okay, I'll just stick with that. And then what was the second part of the question about that?
Pretty much just like how have you specifically found success in that, like nowadays?
Okay, yeah.
Like today, so, like obviously you're doing like Drake type beat, J. Cole type beat, like
I would like look at people's channels and their beats would just be like so many different artists, which isn't a bad thing. But I think if you want to like make it in the music world, you have to have like your own like sound. That makes sense. So I just decided, all right, well, every beat of mine usually sounds like something Drake would use, so I'll just do like the majority, like 90% Drake, and then have like eventually I'll do some like jazz stuff, J. Cole types. But yeah, I just decided I needed to just stick with like one sound to do, and that was like my ideal thing. So I just picked Drake, and it's crazy because like I started like I think right after Views dropped. Was that 2016?
Yeah.
No, before a little before More Life, I guess. And that was like pretty much when we finally like popped off way after that. So it's kind of crazy, but yeah, I just stuck with that sound.
I know for like the type beats type thing is like you have to look at it from an artist standpoint as well, because like if you're an artist and you're like an upcoming artist and you never made beats and you don't really know how to describe a sound that you're looking for, how else would you describe it? You'd be like, I want something that sounds like this, and it's that artist. So like as the producer, for making it a type beat, it's for the artist, purpose, not really always for your purpose. It's just kind of describe the sound of the beat, but it's for the artist to help them be like, okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. That's what I meant by that. Because they don't always like know how to describe it. Because like even me personally, like I've had artists hit me up and like, I want it to sound like this. I don't really know how to describe it because I don't know how to make beats. But like, do you have something that sounds like this? And then they'll send you like a song by an artist. So then you have to try and emulate that. So that's kind of like, I didn't really get the type beats thing at first, but when I broke it down and like, it's really just about simplifying it for the person that's trying to find your beats too, and like just kind of making it easier for them. So I definitely have like a new like vantage point as far as like why people do it and how you could find success in that, because it's very like artist central pretty much to me. So
and you really look at it, I mean, hip hop, rap, R&B, like they have all different kinds of like sounds now. Like it's not just what you would hear in like the 80s and 90s, like your boom bap. Like rap has taken so many different like routes, the way it goes. Like you have Drake and you have J. Cole and you have Kendrick, but they all sound so different. So you can't just go on YouTube, you type in hip hop type beat, you're gonna get like
millions of results.
So many different things. Like why not just narrow it down to like, and plus like who's like the hottest artist right now? That's what people want to listen to. You don't have to like copy their sound, but you want something that at least can stay up with how music sounds right now. Like nobody really, like if you think about it, like the whole boom bap like rap is like I don't even hear that on the radio. Like you barely hear that. So
it's good to like evolve your sound with the times as well, because like I feel like you can still do stuff like that, but if you're not doing what's kind of trending as well, you're gonna kind of get pushed aside a bit. Like it just kind of is what it is. So I think that's always very helpful to know, especially as a producer. So I only got a few more questions for you, and we'll just wrap it up here. Do you have any projects or maybe something in the works that we could look forward to hearing soon? Maybe in 2021. Like, what do you have up your sleeve, you think?
Nothing like major right now. I'm working with an artist right now, Curtis III. We're about to drop an album, I think in January, probably right before Drake does, just to get that, like, because he's gonna take it over. But yeah, that's probably it for right now on the calendar. Yeah, I mean, I was working with artists, so whenever you see me post something, that's it.
Nice, man. I'd like to hear you do some beat tapes. You ever thought about doing that?
Yeah, I did too.
Okay. I'll have to check them out.
One was called Ghosted, and I think the second one was called Trapped in December. I think they're both on YouTube. I used to do beat tapes where I or pretty much mixtapes where I have people rap my beats and put it all together, but doing that, man, I got so many copyright issues. It was crazy.
I can imagine.
I was like, they was about to take my channel down because of that, man. I had like an hour-long mixtape, but just the amount of copyright emails I got was crazy. But I'll probably bring it back and just put it like mainly on SoundCloud or something like that.
Nice. Because I know you got those beats that, like, I could just put them on with no lyrics and just listen to them like straight up.
Yeah.
So that'd be super dope. So if you could go back 10 years ago, maybe give yourself any advice, maybe kind of tell yourself anything important, or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you'd do?
Oh man, honestly, I wouldn't change anything, man. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm in this spot right now. Maybe just tell myself like, hey, start a little earlier. Don't be scared of it. Just try something new. You know what I mean? But yeah, I wouldn't change a thing, man. I don't know. I think I'm on a good path right now, and it's working, so I'm not gonna change nothing.
So 10 years from now, where do you think you want to be in your career and your life in general?
Man, I just want to be happy, dog. I mean, that sounds like cliche, but
Nah, man.
sure, like all the fame and all that, like, I used to be like, yeah, I want to be rich and all this stuff, but hey, if I could just make beats completely from my home and support my family and stuff, I'm cool with that. Or if, I can drive nice cars and have a big house, that's cool too, but as long as I'm successful and happy, man, I think I'm good on that.
That's always the goal, man. Like, I think people forget about that sometimes. So where are you at on social media? I know you're on Instagram. I think you're on Twitter too. Where can people find you at?
Just those two, Instagram and Twitter, pretty much. So J.Patterns on Instagram, and I think it's J.Patterns3 on Twitter. So yeah.
Awesome. And any final words of wisdom today?
Man, just stay in y'all grind, man. In quarantine, I know some places are going back in quarantines. It's the perfect time. Just lock in, maybe do music, art, drawing, any of that. Just create as much as possible, man. It never stop. You never know what can happen. Just remember, the moment you're not doing it, someone else is, you know? So just always stay in your grind. That's my motto for everything.
Well, man, that's all I had for you today. I appreciate you, like I said, getting back with me about being on this episode, and I appreciate all the gems you just share with us. And hopefully we can do this again one day, maybe in person. I don't really know, man.
Yeah, this is dope, man. I'm definitely going to follow up on you. Keep in touch, man. I love doing these interviews. It's awesome.
Yes,
and
man.
Whatever you got going, man, just keep with it, man. This is dope.
Thank you, everyone, for listening today. That was episode number 33. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit that support button on your podcast streaming platform if you want to send any funds our way. It goes towards us getting new guests, more exciting guests for you. And we'll see you this time next week. Thanks.